So the third basic shape is a plate. Now you notice that I put a bat on the wheel. You never throw a plate without a bat, and that's because it's completely flat, and when you go to take it off the wheel, if you don't have a bat, you're just going to warp the heck out of it. So be sure you use a bat. Now on the take-home wheels that you have, it has, you can put your bat pins on, but you don't have to throw on the wheel head if you have the bat pins on. You can take them off when you're working directly on the wheel head, and just use them if you're using a bat. And that's so that you don't catch your fingers or your hands on them. So if you remember, the cylinder, we would start with a birthday cake shape. And then if you were making a bowl, you go down a little bit lower. And if you're making a plate, you go down even lower than that. So I'm leaving probably 3/4, maybe an inch of clay. So we're going to open the plate in a very similar way to the bowl. I'm going to put my my left thumb on top of the pot. I'm going to put my fingers around it, and then I'm going to hold on to the sponge and press down in the middle. So I don't have very far to go. I just make a little indent, and then again, like the bowl, I push away from me over to about 10 o'clock. So our goal is to make this as flat as possible. So now I'm going to go back the other direction. I'm going to hold the sponge with my thumb on the bottom and my fingers on the top, and I'm going to lay the sponge down and push down with my fingers into the clay. And then I'm going to pull toward 4 o'clock. Now plates or any kind of flat piece of clay is always subject to cracking. So a good way to prevent that is to compress the clay on the bottom by going back and forth. So this serves a dual purpose. It flattens the clay and it also compresses it. So do that 2 or 3 times, or as long as it takes you to get this clay nice and flat. There's nothing worse than a plate that has a big hump in the middle, in here, or has a gully in here, because then all your gravy and whatever goes down into the sides, or it just all comes off of the center. So you want to make sure you get that flattened in the middle. Okay, so I've just left a little tiny lip on the edge. Now there's 2 ways that you can finish off a plate. One is very simple. You just put your finger underneath the edge and you hold on to it with your left hand like you're going to pinch it, the same way you would do a cylinder, only what you're going to do is just pull the clay out instead of up. So this is just a very simple plate. The other way to finish the edge of a plate is to do the same thing but bring it up just a hair, and then you're going to take your fingers, your left index finger and your thumb, and grab a hold of it, and then what I do is, I don't know if you can see this, I put my thumb about ½ an inch down my middle finger and then lean it against my index finger. Now everybody's fingers are different, so this might not work for you, but it works for me. And I make like a little notch that holds the rim of the clay as it's going around so it doesn't distort. And I squeeze the clay to make it flat. So my right hand is only doing the job of stabilizing the rim as it goes around. My left fingers are the ones that are pinching the clay and making it flat. Now, plate rims have a habit of curling up as they dry, so you want to make this as flat as you can without collapsing it. Okay, and then a lot of times I don't even do the trimming on the bottom, I just cut through it. But it's important that you cut through, and you have to hold your wire down really tight, otherwise you'll go right through the bottom. So that's a plate.